And here, she is the woman who plays the vixen.
Yeah.
I'd subscribe to her channel all day, and I'd buy the merch.
Yeah, she is...
and he would too.
Yeah, he would. He's all over that. And it's a sexy scene.
It's a very sexy scene.
Yeah.
Who wrote it? The guy who gets to kiss her.
Gets to make out with her.
That tracks.
Fill up her tatas, I believe is the term.
I need to write a musical, man.
You do. You need to write a musical.
My girlfriend's like, why are you making out with all these people? I'm like, it's art.
It's art.
You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to be in it either.
Yeah, exactly. Why would I
cast you? Gentlemen, and welcome to the monumental episode 50 of Straight to Series. What's special on this episode? Nothing. It's like every other one, except it's the 50th one.
It's the 50th one, yeah, exactly.
My name is Connor.
I'm Ian.
And yeah, welcome to the show. I hope you're all doing well.
Movie TV podcast.
Yeah.
Quenching all your movie thirst. Well, some of these movies didn't actually quench my thirst.
No, but
left me pretty hungry and thirsty.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about this week Hamilton. I'm sure you've heard, but it's on Disney Plus now.
It's on straight to Disney Plus.
Now it's on straight to series.
Yeah, it went straight to Disney Plus.
Straight to Disney Plus, and then we're going to talk about the greatest Netflix action movie released this year, Extraction.
No. We're actually going to do the other one.
Which one?
The Old Guard.
What movie?
The Old Guard. Charlize Theron's in it for some reason.
Oh, I saw that movie, yeah.
And Chiwetel
Ejiofor.
That's
yes,
what
correct. You did say that.
What I said?
I'm just
word for word.
I'm puppeting it.
Thank you.
And we're going to talk about, sadly, Ennio Morricone, who passed away at the age of 89, was it? The guy, if you read the Washington Post, it's such a disrespectful article.
Yeah, he was 91.
91, sorry, not 91, but he sadly passed away this week, so we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the Batman TV series.
So excited to ruin a movie that hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah. So we've got two things we're excited about talking about, two things we're not excited about, but maybe excited about to this. So,
we'll see.
Hopefully it's a good 50th episode.
Yeah.
And we should know what we're doing by now, but...
We'll find out.
Won't we?
Take this journey with us.
Yeah, let's all take this journey together, and hopefully we come out the other side better people.
Better people.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, that was actually pretty nice. Quote.
Yeah, that's straight to series. Put that on the box.
Yeah.
Right, let's start with Hamilton.
Let's start with Hamilton, yeah.
So just a lot of untalented people dancing around a stage.
Ugly as well.
Untalented,
out of tune
people,
out of rhythm,
dancing around a stage, doing God knows what for 2 hours, 50 minutes, slinging absolute trash.
Goddamn, I loved it.
Oh yeah,
goddamn, I loved it.
It's pretty great.
It's too good.
Yeah,
it's kind of too good. I'm not even into musicals. I'm kind of not. I never can get over the fact. Like I'm kind of like the guy. When there's you've got seasickness and it's like your mind and your equilibrium's fighting. I've always been the kid when I'm watching a musical and he goes, I feel sad. In fact, I feel so sad. I'm like, why is everyone not addressing that he's singing now? I've never got past that, and maybe it's just my feeble mind, but I love this so much. And there's no actual normal talking.
Not really.
It's all singing.
Yeah,
it's right from the get-go. It's just all music, really.
Which is the way I think most musicals should do it. Like Les Mis does that, and that's one of the...
but that's just a problem. That's an inherent problem with me anyway.
Oh, no,
I'm always like... it's just as a kid, I know. No one told me, hey, it's called culture, shut up,
I totally understand it, but I'm really glad you liked it, because you had no experience with Hamilton before.
Not at all.
I had heard about it, and I'd listened to the soundtrack when it was released and everything, so I kind of had a bit more information, and I was really excited to actually see it. And
it's so visceral. It's so great.
It's awesome. Like,
it's shot amazingly as well.
Is.
Like, it's fun to watch. It's not...
You were breaking down for me how they shot it.
Yeah, it's actually 3 performances.
Yeah.
Which is it's crazy. So if you see things a little out of sync, it could be because they're using the audio from a different performance, or from a performance in the studio. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We can get into that. Like, I love this, but I do question its perfection. A little bit.
And you were saying one of the performances, there's no audience,
No
right?
audience. So there's 2 performances back to back, one night and then the other night. And then there's a performance with no crowd, so they can do like on stage camera work as well.
Because
you appreciate it.
You
when
do.
you watch it, you're like, that close up. It's not that it's needed, but it adds to it so much, especially because they're such great actors that you see, like, it's written on the face, and you would not get that from a big crane, you know. If like whatever, like 50 feet away,
that will be blocking the audience's view of the show. I would have been so pissed off the night I went to Hamilton, biggest show in the world at the time and everything, couldn't get tickets, and then there's a fucking crane shot going right in front of the stage the whole time.
And I'm not the musical guy, and I go, okay, I'm gonna give this a go, and I'm like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, why is there a cameraman on stage and no one's addressing this? You know, this is fucking weird.
Why is the only white guy on stage a fat cameraman?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's a great show. It was written and directed and choreographed and all that shit by
Wait, it wasn't directed.
Oh, this wasn't directed?
Wasn't directed.
I thought he
he wrote it and produced it. But it's got an actual director. I should actually say, right, so like they did 2 full performances with a crowd, and then they only did certain numbers, so they had already figured out what certain songs they need to do without a crowd.
Gotcha.
So I think I could be wrong, but I'm nearly sure 17 of the songs they did without a crowd, just for like on stage angles. And what I read is that the director had 6 cameras to work with each night. So for the first night, 6 cameras were in certain positions that he thought were good. Then the second night, he put them in other positions. So now we're up to 12 positions. So per song, he's got 12 different angles to choose from.
Right.
And then 17 of the numbers he did with no crowd, so they can do on stage camera work.
I see.
I'll get the director.
But Lin-Manuel Miranda, who I was going to name drop earlier, did direct the actual show, didn't he? He directed the Broadway show, did he?
No, he didn't either.
No, he didn't either.
He didn't.
Okay.
But he's like the main. He's the mastermind.
He's the guy. Yeah,
he's in it. He of course he. Who does the guy who wrote the whole show play?
He's a background extra, isn't he?
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
No, he's Alexander Hamilton himself, and it's just an amazing show. But he was writing it for 8 years. Like, so much of his life was put into the show.
And you can tell.
Yeah, you can. I mean, like, even the songs that you don't like in this are musically so good. Like, there's a honky tonk number that you pointed out that is like...
It's just a bit of a fish out of water.
What have I missed?
Hip hop, and then there's a honky tonk.
Yeah.
Some romantic songs as well that would... Gave me a bit of a chub. Just gonna say,
just from their performances.
There's that one guy.
Oh yeah.
George Washington. Is a sexy brown man.
He is. He is a hot piece of ass.
Man, he's got the most soulful R&B voice ever.
I know.
Like, if R. Kelly wrote a song for him but didn't perform it because he's busy doing other stuff.
Exactly.
He's busy trying to get busy with other people.
Other children, I believe is the term. But Chris Jackson.
Children are people too, okay?
Chris Jackson is his name, isn't it? That's
Christopher Jackson, yeah.
Christopher Jackson.
He's George Washington.
He's George Washington. He's awesome. But I mean, the cast of this is so talented. Like, you've Jonathan Groff from Mindhunter as King George III, who you did not recognize initially. I had to point out to you.
I'm humiliated because I love him. I love Mindhunter so much, and I can't believe. Now I watched the whole thing going, who's that guy?
Yeah, I know.
Who's that guy?
I know.
You know?
And then when you find out, it makes so much sense. He's awesome.
Jumps off the stage and off the screen. Like, he's so good.
It's the thing where he doesn't have to do any of the emotional stuff. George III is kind of like, he's used sparingly, but whenever he's used, it's awesome.
It's all comedic.
It's all comedic, so he just gets to come in and have fun every time, which is like, when you're watching it, you're like, man, I'm not good enough to be any of these people, but if I had a choice, I'd want to be George III, because you just come in, you have fun, and then you get off the stage for the rest of it.
There's the director.
Okay, Alexander Lacamore.
Yeah, he's the director. He directed the show. And he directed the actual filming.
I understand. Okay.
And we should also say that this was 4 years ago.
4 years
weird.
ago, yeah, 2016.
Sitting on this, which makes me kind of question. Like, they had a lot of time to tinker with it if they wanted, so they could do a little bit of studio work if they wanted.
Yeah.
Because there's a few times I sound like I don't like it, but I love it. There's a few times where you see that the audio is out of sync.
Well, you're watching it so intently because you're enjoying it that you just notice these things.
You're
a bit
engrossed.
more. Yeah. It's you pick up on stuff. It's funny enough that's like the trade-off, because when we talk about the old guard later, I was watching this so intently that I started to notice things off with it, and then when I was watching the old guard, it didn't have me hooked.
Don't focus on it.
So I was thinking about all the bad things in it as it was going. Like, the job of any movie is to make me forget about like
your
the
existence
and the rules of the
your
world.
9 to 5.
The rules of the world that I live in.
Yeah,
so
it's like escapism. That's what it is.
It's escapism. So when a movie is really good at getting that escapism, like Hamilton, you pay super close attention to it and notice things. And when it's not very good, like the old guard, you end up noticing all the terrible things and questioning everything.
Yeah, so exactly. That's it. Yeah, you're not escaping into anything. Then
no,
you're actually more pissed off.
Yeah,
and then you're thinking, I fucking work tomorrow as well.
Yeah, and you're like, why do I have to do this?
Yeah.
Do we really need to talk about this in the podcast? But back to the Hamilton. It's awesome. Daveed Diggs, who
we owe an apology to, but he owes TNT owes an apology.
Yeah, and someone
for ruining him.
Someone owes him an apology because he is the star of Snowpiercer, the TV show that we kind of reviewed a few weeks ago.
And we had a lot of problems with his performance because he's an absolute cool, charismatic dude in it, and it just makes no sense because he's been living in pure poverty and should be like a destroyed human being.
He's just like...
And he's like, yo, bro, what's up, man? And I'm like, what's going on here? He's just way too cool for school.
Everyone likes him. He's just like super...
I like him, but hate him because I'm like, why is he so cool?
Why is he so cool? Why does every character seem to like this guy? Why...
Yeah. Like, he's got sex appeal. He's got everything.
He's got bad characteristics, but they're like the best ones where he's like, oh, my wife left me, but I've been banging this sweet chick on the side.
Yeah, and I'm going to steal your girl.
Yeah, he's like, I have to look after this kid, but the kid loves me because I'm such a great dad. And it's like,
what is going on? He's such a great guy.
He's such a great guy. He's like, I'm going to move up to the tail section. I'll move from the tail section. I'm going to make demands of everyone, and they're just going to do it because I'm that cool.
He's basically crushing it.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
In an environment where no one should be crushing it, especially him.
So we were kind of ragging on the performance, being like, why is he trying to be so cool and everything? But then after watching the show and subsequent interviews, you realize that Daveed Diggs is just a super cool guy. He
owns that name. If you're going to be called Daveed Diggs, you better be cool.
Yeah.
You better be cool.
He's a super talented, super cool guy, and we've now come to the conclusion that Snowpiercer, it's either bad casting or bad writing.
I think it's both. It's bad writing. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Because if the description was cool ass motherfucker that goes around charming the pants off everyone, well then Daveed Diggs is the guy for the job.
Absolutely.
So that's good casting, but that's because the description was terrible because the writing's awful.
Writing's off.
But he is excellent in this.
Yeah.
He is literally, the crowd are in the palm of his hands. He can make them laugh with just a look.
Yeah, he really can.
Look. Like, he's excellent.
He's like, you can tell when he's performing, he's like, all of the actors, we should say, are clearly lost in their performance, where sometimes they just forget they're performing.
And I'm lost in their performance as well, especially him.
Leslie Odom Jr. is another one. He plays Aaron Burr, and he also has the audience eating out of his hand.
I think he's my number one. I think he's my number one. I love his voice. I love where he goes, the raspiness, and like, he can do it all. They're all too fucking talented. That's the problem.
All the talent in the world is directed.
Is on that stage.
Is in the original cast of Hamilton, basically. Them and Donald Glover as well. Exactly. Yeah, they've sucked up all the talent in the world. Yeah. But it's just a great. Like, it's got so many great numbers. Like, I love Wait For It. That's my favorite.
It's excellent. That's almost like a pop tune.
I know.
It's so catchy.
It's so good. And then there's like the opening number. We watched it again to get hyped for it. It's so much fun.
I've watched it 4 times now, the opening number. And I love it. I'm just engrossed. And then I'm afraid. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes long, by the way. We came at this a bit afraid.
We did.
Because we seen 240 and we were going, oh shit, if this is bad, that's 2 hours and 40 minutes. And you kind of want to sit through it because we do a podcast. And we want to be able to give it its
fair due.
A fair due, yeah.
That's the only reason I'm playing The Last of Us Part 2 now, because I was won over by the first game after playing the remaster, and I was like, all right, I've read a lot of stuff, but I'll give it a fair go and try it myself.
But both parties are so separated on it as well that you kind of want to know which side do I land on.
Yeah.
Because there's not many people who are like, yeah, it's okay.
Down the middle.
It's like, I absolutely hate it and I want to shoot the person who made it in the head.
Yeah.
And fucking gamers can be batshit crazy.
Yeah, and whoever played that person. Yeah.
Because that makes sense. That makes sense.
Tracks. Laura Bailey is amazing, by the way. You should check her out. She's so cool.
And stop fucking tweeting horrible things.
Yeah. Exactly. But anyway, it's just like you want to give your own opinion, and we were very scared by the 2 hour 50
2 hour
runtime.
2 hour 40.
40, excuse me.
I think I said 50. Well, you were the one who said, "Hey, we should watch Hamilton," and I was like, "Hell yeah, okay." Then I looked at it was 2 hours and 40 minutes long. I was like, "Oh, the Connor just fucked me. Connor just fucked me."
Yeah. And I thought I had, because I was like, man, if he doesn't like this, it's going to be really bad. But thankfully, you really liked it.
It's excellent.
Yeah. But
everyone is excellent in this.
Everyone is excellent.
It's frustrating to watch that much talent in one area.
And yet you
at one time.
appreciate it because you're like, they're killing it.
They're good looking. They're great dancers. Amazing bodies.
Yeah.
Fantastic singers. Fantastic actors. Like it just leave some for the rest of us.
I know.
Leave some for the rest of us. Seriously.
It's a well cast, well performed show.
And this cast, they're like the best of the cast because then they change. It starts to rotate.
Yeah.
So they were like the main cast, and that was the performances that you're watching. The 3 performances that are amalgamated to that one movie.
Yeah.
That's like one of their last time. Well, that's like one of the last weeks where they were all together. I think then 2 weeks later, people start kind of dipping out and new actors came in.
Yeah.
So like that was the best of the bunch, and of course it's going to seem like perfection because they've been doing it for years. Then you know.
That's what you forget. Like you pointed out to me, that it was 5 nights a week they were doing this, and then matinees at some stage as well. This is a 2 hour 40-minute show.
No wonder they're ripped.
Yeah.
And he got that shit down to a T. But we were saying like, how can you perform that well every night, like vocally? Like what sort of maintenance goes into keeping your vocals pristine? And some of these voices, what's it, your man Christopher Jackson?
Yeah.
He made me gay.
Yeah.
He made me gay in
me
that.
too.
He's got the sexiest, soulful voice, he's got this look about him. Got a good set of eyebrows as well.
He does. He's got emotive.
He's so good.
He's really, really good.
He's a guy I'd follow.
Yeah.
You know, shut up, Christopher's talking.
Well, that's it. He's playing.
What's he saying? Tell me what to believe, Christopher.
Well, he's playing George Washington, which is so perfect for that.
We should say what he was talking about, how surreal it is.
Yeah.
That like he was, first of all, he's an African American man playing George Washington, like who grows up, who's into musicals, thinking that someday I'll be playing George Washington on a Broadway stage.
I know.
But then he talked about how I don't know the name of it, but when a president has finished their term, they do like a party.
Yeah,
an end of term party.
End of term
graduation party.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
So
Debs.
Yeah, Debs. Sure, why not? So he got to sing as George Washington in the White House, singing off the first African American president with a portrait of George Washington in the background, and he's like, this is way too surreal.
Yeah.
And he also said, like, he actually got kind of slightly tearful in the interview I was watching, where he was saying that, like, his I think it was his grandmother or his mother was like, you could do anything, even be a president, you know. And of course, especially if you're black, you're like, yeah, that's not gonna happen, you know, that way. And then he's there in that moment and been like, oh my god, this is just alchemy. Like, what the fuck is going on here? That's amazing.
It's it's,
and he's a sexy man.
He's a sexy man. I mean, they're all, and then we should probably shout out the women, because as always on Straight to Series, we focus on the men.
What the fuck's wrong with us?
I know, yeah, we're two straight blokes who just love talking about men. Just love it.
Let me talk about the male physique for a minute.
Let's talk about men for like an hour and 50 minutes. But yeah, Philippa Sue and Renee Elise Goldberry, they are two of they're Angelica and
Eliza
and Angelica. Eliza is Philippa Sue and Angelica is Renee, respectively, two of the main lead female vocalists in the thing, and they're awesome. Even the background extras of the women in the cast are like, will come on stage, steal a scene with one line of dialogue,
and you always wonder, they're just like the next one.
I know,
like, you know, like they're amazing,
yeah,
but they have like an extra, like this, probably like Matthew McConaughey was probably an extra in a few things before he was Matthew McConaughey.
I know.
So when they sing, you're like, oh, they're amazing as well. They're just not there yet.
I always think
they haven't moved up the ranks yet.
I would always think, like, did they take over at some stage? Are they someone's understudy? You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. Lin-Manuel talks about missing the night that Beyonce and Jay-Z were in the crowd. He was too sick.
Really?
He missed the night that Beyonce and Jay-Z was there, and like someone told him they were there, and he was like taking the IV out of his arm. He was like, "Get me,
let me do it."
Yeah, but yeah, it's mad. But I mean, we were talking about the songs earlier. Like, there's a song that the two of us, we've constantly come back to, and it's like, how to say no to this. It's such a. I never thought in a musical about the founding fathers I would hear a song that had the line
that's on 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's on 99% of Rotten Tomatoes. have a line, but my body's saying hell yes. You know what I'm saying? It's
and there's this hoe coming around slanging pussy.
Slanging pussy, yeah.
And Anthony Hamilton's like, I'm saying yes to this, but I gotta fight it for a minute just to look good, just to save face.
Yeah, the word cuckold is used in a song.
I'm gonna be singing that song in my head next time I'm in the bar and some jailbait comes along.
I don't know how to say
no to this, and all my bros are like, you gotta say no to this, but he's gonna say yes to this because he's already decided when he was in the bathroom looking in the mirror.
All right.
You're a cool guy. You got this.
You got this. You'll figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You made a great point that it's like Peep Show. Mark Corrigan has a line. What was it you were saying?
I don't know. It's like it's pretty much what I'm saying. Like he's like, I've already decided I'm going to say yes, but I need to save face and make me look virtuous, so I'll say no a few times.
Yeah.
As long as they kind of offer it one more time, You've got to say no a certain amount of times. I think no twice.
And
then on the third one you go,
okay, we'll do it. Yeah,
exactly.
It's comedy comes in threes.
Yeah, bite the pillow, baby.
No's comes in threes. Yeah, bite the pillow. Exactly.
And here, she is the woman who plays the vixen.
Yeah.
I'd subscribe to her channel all day, and I'd buy the merch.
Yeah, she is.
And he would too.
Yeah, he would. He's all over that. And it's a sexy scene.
It's a very sexy scene.
Yeah.
Who wrote it? The guy who gets to kiss her.
Gets to make out with her.
That tracks.
Fill up her tatas, I believe is the term.
I need to write a musical, man.
You do. You need to write a musical.
My girlfriend's like, why are you making out with all these people? I'm like, it's art.
It's art.
You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to be in it either.
Yeah, exactly. Why would I
cast you?
Yeah. Got you at home. That's like when you have a sex dream about your girlfriend. I feel like I'm after being like
wasted,
sold some rotten fruit. I'm like, what the fuck? That's my dreams are for escapism. You know what I mean?
I don't want reality in my dreams.
And then I wake up next to her and I'm like, what?
I just had you.
Give me a slice of Beyonce in my dream.
Yeah, I know. Give you some Chris Jackson in your dream. That's what you want.
I want him to sing.
Yeah.
Candlelit while I make love to some woman.
We were saying that like it would have been too sexy if Chris Jackson was the one singing no to this. We were like, that's a sex appeal overdrive right there.
It seriously is.
But not all the songs are about sex in Hamilton, despite what we were focused on.
I think there's one.
Yeah, there's one, but it's just so good because
it's such a lad song.
Yeah,
it's such a male driven song, and I think it might actually piss off some women. Where it's like, it's easy, you just say no.
No means no, but every lad is like, listen, you should say no, but if you say yes, I mean, I'm not going to judge you, man. I mean, seriously.
As the comedian says in Watchmen, no spelled by yes. Before he rapes someone. That's probably not the best quote.
Example.
That's a bad example. Yeah. I retract that.
Do you remember when he's taking off his clothes and then he takes the muscle suit off and it's just Jeffrey Dean Morgan in there?
He's like, you ain't raping no one.
Yeah, I mean, there's great songs. Like, they do the stage choreography and everything. The stage spins, which is so cool and used to such great effect. At one stage,
it's fantastic. Yeah. It is.
Yeah,
and it's so good. It's so simple as well.
I know.
It's just a circular. Well, there's two, isn't there?
There's two, and I think
one's like different pace.
Yeah,
one's at a different pace. So good.
It's very cool. And then they have there's a song called "Helpless" right at the beginning, and then it rewinds, and they do such a good job of not only like letting the audience know that they're going back, but also doing choreography from the first song, but from a different perspective.
Yes,
and everything.
It's so good. All the callbacks as well are amazing.
They are.
Oh, actually, that was one thing though we were talking before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
Like one thing that we not that we dislike it, but it definitely shoots its load.
In the first half.
Yeah. The first half is a bit heavy loaded.
Yeah.
All the good, well, not all of it, but the best stuff is in the first half.
Totally.
And then you feel like the best stuff in the second half is the callbacks to the first half kind of stuff. But the motifs that we've established in the first half are nearly some of the best parts of the second half.
But that's the thing, like it's tough. It's
like we can say something negative about it, we're like absolutely sucking the dick of this.
Oh no, it's an amazing show. Like if we had to criticize it, this is what we come up with. But like all the you always remember meeting someone and like the introduction to a character, and if you love them for that introduction, like of course you're gonna feel good when you hear that thing again.
Yeah,
like
of course.
They've so much callbacks, like wait for it, Aaron Burr, or all this other stuff, and it's like whenever Jonathan Groff shows up as King George, it's like I can't wait to see this again.
So good, and he's used sparingly, which is better.
It is.
It's actually better.
But I mean, of course, it's front loaded. It's got like the Revolutionary War takes place in the first half. Like,
yeah, I know. Where all the sadness
Yeah.
is in the second half.
yeah, like
You know,
of
when
course.
shit starts to fall apart, the wheels start to fall off.
Yeah, of course, the stuff about setting up the banking system and the debates in Congress isn't necessarily as interesting as a full-blown war. However, they do a great fucking job of it.
They do. And the saddest scene of the whole thing for me is in the second half.
Yeah, me too.
Which I could have cried if I wanted to, put it that
If you
way.
weren't a man,
but
you
I was trying to save face, trying to be a man about
Yeah.
it, even though I was on my own watching it.
Yeah.
I was like, no,
Well-
still not gonna. I'm gonna suck those tears back in.
You can't be ever show weakness.
No, ever.
Especially
someone
when
could be
you're alone.
watching.
Exactly.
Someone could be watching, man.
A guy's gonna like a man is waiting outside the door with an axe ready to murder you, and if he heard a tear hit the floor, he was just gonna burst in and get you.
By the way, I was actually doing like bicep curls while eating a protein bar while I was watching it.
Oh
I'm a
yeah,
man.
because you're a man. Yeah.
So you know what it is.
I don't know. Yeah, and then they have like great recurring bits in it. Like every debate in Congress is a rap battle.
It's so obvious.
It's such an obvious idea, but it's so
But when you
executed so
see it,
well.
you go, oh yeah.
Yeah, and then
That's excellent, but it's probably not your go-to thing. But then when you see it, you're like, how could you not?
how could you
think of
not do
way?
that? And then they
Surprised
have
it wasn't a dance-off.
yeah, and then they have like the 10 dual commandments, and then they keep coming back to that. And there's so much like with the piano you talk about. You know, there's great, just little character things that it's just awesome.
You try not to like spoil it.
Yeah, I'm like
compliment it at
it's
the
just-
same time.
It's such a good,
It's hard
well-written musical.
it's hard not to get specific because there's so many beautiful moments in
Yeah.
it. You know, there's so many good. Also, I didn't know the like process of making the Declaration of Independence was cool as fuck.
Yeah, apparently
So
it's
cool.
really cool.
It's so cool.
And-
Also, I do love that like it's just a plethora of different races.
Yeah.
And it's not addressed.
No, they
It's
never.
kind of cool because they're like, oh, we're sisters.
Now that is people. There have been,
Yeah.
you know, articles criticizing it for
I
that.
like that about it.
Me too, and they're saying it whitewashes history because it doesn't address slavery. But Lin-Manuel has come out, and there is elements of like they address slavery,
but like they kind of just tip it.
they
you know,
tip
like-
it, and then the character associated with it, you know, kind of fades in the background, basically.
Yeah.
So, but like people are saying that, it's tough where these characters, the founding fathers, are so flawed because they're
Yes.
layered individuals, and
Yeah.
for a musical about them, it doesn't go into the fact that all of these men own slaves and plantations and everything like that.
And then it gets really confusing because they're played by a lot of mostly African American males.
yeah.
You know the way, so you're kind of going, oh, that would get weird.
Yeah, people also say that it's now 2020. This was made in 2016. We're different now in 2020 and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But Lin-Manuel has said, you know, he had 2 hours and 50 minutes. He says 2.5 hour, 250 show
Yeah.
or something like that. And he tried to squeeze as much in as possible. And you know what? I can't fault the guy. But he also says all criticism is valid.
And
So
he said like it's historically incorrect in
Yeah.
loads of places.
he's doing his
You know?
best. To,
But he was like, here, I got a limited amount of time, and there's little things that he changed, and he's like, it's for dramatic effect. You
Yeah,
know?
and
it's
he's-
Broadway.
it's more to like... He says it's not meant to be taken as historically accurate. It's meant to inspire those to look at the stories
Yeah,
themselves.
an appetizer,
Which it
you
does.
know, pique interest,
Yeah.
and that's what a lot of people. Oh, they've been doing educational stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like, they've been going around to schools and things like that, and getting like the students to do their own iterations of certain songs.
It's cool.
It's extremely cool, and it all stemmed from him just reading. It wasn't an autobiography; it was a biography written
Yeah.
by someone about Anthony Hamilton. Like, and he just read it, and I think he said like chapter 2, he was going, "This is a musical. This is a musical." And then 8 years later,
It's a
he's
musical.
destroying Broadway. Like,
It's awesome. And there was something else I was going to say there.
it's also cool as fuck.
It's
You know,
so
like,
cool.
It's a musical.
Yeah.
And it's a musical about like the Declaration of Independence and
Yeah.
shit like that. It's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a moment where you're going, I'm getting educated here. It's just really, it oozes of pure
It
coolness.
drips cool. And
Which is great.
It
Like,
is.
I'm not saying that in a bad way
No.
at all. Like, I mean, it makes it. Like, I was telling you, I was trying to show my friend it, and he was like, "Nah, mate, I'm not into musicals." And I'm like, "I get that,
Yeah.
that, but you should watch. Like, let me just show you the first 5 minutes because I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it would catch him, and I was like, you get hooked. You know, it's just that first hit of heroin.
Yeah.
And I was like,
First one's
I-
free for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you come back for more. And I said, just watch it. And he's like, nah, mate. I'm like so straight. I wouldn't watch that. Like, I showed him the first 5 minutes. 30 seconds in, his foot starts stomping.
Yeah.
And then once the rapping really hits the not R&B, but when it gets super hip hop.
Yeah.
The guy who also plays his son, I don't know his name.
Oh, I wrote
The young
it
guy
down.
plays two characters.
Anthony Ramos.
Yeah. The minute he comes in, my mate was like, okay, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. And he's like trying to be the hard guy, you know, the tough guy. And I was like, it's awesome.
It's just cool.
And after 5 minutes, he was like, yeah, like, whatever, okay. But I knew I got him. I got him. And he was like, I'm probably going to watch that when he goes home. He still didn't want to give it in, you know, like, no. I'm not fragile.
He didn't want to admit, but like, he'll be like, oh yeah, maybe I'll watch that. Yeah. But they also do a great thing that's different from some musicals, where musicals is kind of like, when you sing a song, it's like you're hitting these notes and it's perfect. Whereas in this, they let people have character and they kind of give a lot of freedom, like switch it around. Like Lin-Manuel sings like Flava Flav at one stage.
And it's amazing.
And then there's Hercules Mulligan.
Hercules Mulligan.
Whenever
I want his voice.
Me too.
Especially a small white guy with his voice.
It would be awesome.
Would be amazing.
It would be such a mind fuck.
It would be. But answer the phone like that.
I know. We should look for his name. I will say I'm going to butcher his name when I pronounce it.
Oh yeah,
but, he is awesome.
There it is. There.
Okirieta Onadowan. There's no way I pronounced that
Someone
correctly.
just got insulted.
Yeah, I apologize in advance. Everyone else's name I wrote down because I was like, I can pronounce those names, you know, but
he's a huge, beefy black dude, and if you hear his voice, you're like, yeah, that's it.
That tracks.
That's exactly his voice.
He is awesome. He's so good in the show, and whenever he comes on stage, it's hype as fuck.
Yeah,
and
it fucking is.
The show leans into it where it's like Hercules Mulligan. And he also plays James Madison later in the show as well.
My TV was shaking when he jumps on stage. You know, he's got such a presence, and used sparingly as well.
Very sparingly.
Because he's got such a flavour to him that it should be used sparingly.
Exactly.
You know?
So all in all, kind of average musical.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I'm in love with this, and I will watch it again, definitely.
Yeah, and I recommend anyone who hasn't watched it yet, if you have Disney Plus, definitely check it out. It's
big time.
With a channel starved for content, this is going to get a lot of people in, I think.
Allow me to be cynical for one moment.
Yes.
So the reason why this is getting released now is because Broadway was announced that Broadway will be closed until 2021 because of the virus that will not be named.
Yeah.
And so to go, oh well, we'll counteract that. Disney had been sitting on this and was actually going to do a theatrical release. And I say this would have cleaned up.
Me too.
I actually think it would have made bank.
Yeah.
And it was actually pretty ballsy of Disney to go, screw it, we're going to release it because, you know, Broadway is going to be closed. I know it's a perfect timing to do that, but then this whole Black Lives Matter movement happened, and I just know that there's some pasty dude in an office licking his lips going, this is going to be big for us.
It's exactly the same as Netflix with the Five Bloods, you know?
Maniacal laugh.
Yeah, I know. The cynics in us. The cynics in us. So, like, we don't...
It's about money. Like
it is. It's a money game, especially for when you get so high in the fucking film industry. It's all money and numbers and everything. And like,
you know, there is those guys. There's those guys.
Totally.
And it is true, sadly, that like it will do better.
Yeah.
Because of the massacre that happened. You know what I mean?
know, but like it's just it's funny because I love that we have this mindset like.
You think that there's the two white dudes in a suit, and they wait until the other African American dudes leave,
and then
they're like, "Woo! Yeah! Oh, here we go!"
High-fiving each other.
Yeah.
They're like, "I'm doing cocaine tonight, motherfucker."
And you know the other dudes are like, "We knew that was gonna happen. We can fucking hear you. We're 3 feet away from the office."
That guy does cocaine every night, by the way. It's not. He just says it like that, like it's a new thing, but it's not.
And it costs, by the way, Disney $75 million to make.
I was going to say.
Oh, not to make. They bought it.
They bought it.
So it was made by like the crew.
In fairness, though, Lin-Manuel is like in Disney's pocket. He did Moana. He's attached to The Little Mermaid, which is his favorite musical, apparently.
And he's directing a movie currently, but of course, you guessed it, got shut down. And Tick Tick Boom for Netflix.
Tick Tick Boom, and the adaptation, movie adaptation of his original Broadway show that got a lot of awards, In the Heights, is coming out in 2021. So
I say he's swimming in a bathtub of money right now.
I would say so. He was also in the second to last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
He's made a few he's made cameos as well. I think in one of the Star Wars.
Yes, he's in one of the Star Wars. He's in everything now because everyone
wants a slice.
Everyone wants a slice of Lin-Manuel Miranda, which is crazy because he talks about it like, I've gone from like passing out brochures for people to come in and see my show to like everyone just letting me show up in things.
And he's Cuban, right?
He's Cuban, yeah.
And he was saying that the reason why he wrote Hamilton is because he wasn't getting roles because he's Cuban.
Yeah.
And he wanted like the Caucasian kind of role, you know that way.
Yeah.
And so write it himself then. Why not?
Yeah.
And then he's 8 years, man. It was worth it.
Yeah.
Like clearly.
It
Working on that for 8 years.
I mean, I'm sure it was a tough time, but like it's got to be a crazy feeling right now. And whenever you see him in an interview, he's like a ball of energy. He's so cool.
And super humble.
Super humble guy as well. Hopefully he stays that way.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, but we really like Lin-Manuel Miranda.
After he listens to this podcast, he's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'll never say no to this again.
And that should be your takeaway from this review. A 7.5 out of 7.5 for Hamilton with a bullet.
Fully deserves it.
Fully deserves it. And now we're going to get into a movie that doesn't deserve its review scores at the moment. The Old Guard. So The Old Guard is sitting at 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hey, world, go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
what's going on?
We really don't understand why. It's, I like to think I know why, but...
Yeah, I watched it with an open mind.
Yeah.
But I watched it and dipped out so many times, and I was actually getting angry at myself, going, "No, focus on it.
You have to talk about this. Focus."
I wanted my mind wanted to scroll so bad.
Yeah.
I wanted to just scroll.
I know.
It's like some beautiful scrolling because it was giving me nothing. It was giving me.
So
nothing.
it's. Do you mind switching over to the wiki there because we have it open? It was directed by Gina Price Bythewood, and she's an African American female director. She is obviously an African American female director, but this is her, like, she's done a lot of romance movies and things like that apparently are very good. I don't know, but this is her first foray into action. Starring Charlize Theron and Chiwetel Ejiofor, as we spoke about, and Dudley from Harry Potter series, or the torso guy from The Ballad of Buster Scruggs,
which he's great in.
He is great.
Also a face of a villain.
He does have a villain face.
He really does.
Or
he's the kind of guy that you go, if he can be an actor, anyone could be an actor. Well, of course, you need a side of talent as well.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, he didn't win the lottery when it comes to genetics.
Totally, and I could so see him as well as like starring in Shakespeare and playing like Hamlet or something and just crushing
that
it.
Seedy guy.
Yeah, and
he's Paul Dano in Prisoners.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And I was about to say, like, he could easily have been like a Simon from Misfits. You know,
definitely, he's that guy.
Yeah,
he's that creep.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's a nice guy. Well, I'm not sure. He could be a creep, but like he's got a face of a creep. He actually just has a natural resting creep face.
And he leans into it.
He does.
He's walking around dressed like Mark Zuckerberg in this from The Social Network, not Mark Zuckerberg real life. And his shoulders are always up and he's kind of heads down and everything. And he's really leaning into the.
He looks sticky.
He looks sticky.
I wouldn't leave my girlfriend alone with him. You know
I didn't think this interview would focus on how this guy looked. This podcast, but I guess that's where it's going. No, so The Old Guard is about.
See, we're trying to find something interesting to talk about.
Yeah, I know. The Old Guard is about immortal
mercenaries that are going around doing some good in the world.
And basically, they get discovered, and at the same time, a new member is added.
Yeah, they kind of have some sort of magnetism towards each other.
Yeah,
you know?
they like
connection. They can dream of each other.
But it's like
I thought it was as bland as they come. Like no emotions were like I didn't even dislike it to a degree. It was just for the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was monotone.
Even
some of the action
is good.
It almost was going to take off.
Yeah.
You know that way, because some of the action was kind of decent. Charlize Theron does some of her own stunts, and when she does, it doesn't look the best.
Sometimes,
It doesn't look like Atomic Blonde.
Look, we all appreciate the fact that Atomic Blonde, Sam Hargraves, by the way. We all appreciate the fact that he
didn't direct it. Did he?
No,
do
he did.
But
he was stunt choreographer on that.
Brilliant, because it's one of the John Wick guys that directed it.
It is one of the John Wick guys, and Sam Hargraves.
Is it David Leitch?
I think it might be.
He's
David
one
Leitch.
of them anyway, but I don't know if he's the one who did that.
Sam Hargraves did the stunt work on it. He was the stunt director on that, as far as I'm aware. And by the way, directed the actual best action movie that's been put on Netflix, Extraction. Yeah. Sorry,
Easily.
Collider, you're wrong. By the way, you're completely wrong.
By a mile.
By like a country mile.
Especially that you said action movie. You know, if you said this is like the best thriller, maybe. Yeah. I still disagree.
Yeah.
But like we literally just got the best action movie.
Yeah.
Even if you want to say, hey, it's not that deep. There's not many layers to it. If you want to say that,
fine.
but the action. Like, look at the action. The action is superb.
Superb.
You
like,
watch that and you go, I need him to direct another movie. Like,
it's
now.
It's some of the best action I've like ever seen on screen. It's so good, so fluid, everything about it.
And so interesting.
So interesting.
Like, it's so interesting. You're watching it going, hey, they're doing something different here.
And
from a genre that we've seen countless times.
And it's not dull at really any stage.
It's the kinetic energy off that.
It's got an interesting setting.
Makes you want to work out.
It makes me want to work out. It's got an interesting setting. Like, we're being shown Indian actors who you've never seen before do
Hemsworth
excellent work,
crushing it. Forearms of a god. Forearms of an absolute god.
Sam Hargrave putting himself in harm's way to get crazy shots you've never seen of, and then
this is a review of The Guard. Like, look, this is us trying.
Yeah, but then it's like to even say that this is Collider have really annoyed me with this, and you pointed it out to me. But to even say that just spits in the face of this other movie, where it's like, do you see the amount of work that went into that other movie to make those amazing action scenes, and you're telling me this bland piece of shit?
But you know what?
Is just as good. Yes, I do know why.
Because it's mega woke.
It's mega woke.
I'm doing quotation marks for anyone who's listening to this. It's supposed to be mega woke. There's two characters, two gay guys in it.
Openly gay characters.
They're openly gay, and they're also immortal mercenaries. So you're like, hey, that's a bit different already.
They're badass cool guys, but
but what's like their personality traits?
Well, they're gay.
But what about the other layer?
No, they're gay and they love each other. Which is
like, what else? Like, when they go deeper with the story.
Well, they met in the Crusades and they killed each other a few times, but they're gay lovers together.
And when they develop that,
it doesn't go for. Why would you need it to go further? We've told you their whole character thing.
The only interesting thing about them.
One of them literally is only there to be hurt, so the other guy can come in and beat up the people who hurt him.
And it pisses me off because that other guy's doing work.
He is.
I don't care that they're gay. It annoys me that that's their thing. That's it.
It's so like, I just don't. I don't know. Like
You know who made a really good point of this is Simon Pegg when they did the last Star Trek, and he was the co-writer on it.
Yeah.
And they made Sulu.
Yeah.
They made him gay.
Yeah.
And everyone was saying, let's make a parade, let's have him assless chaps. And he was like, no, he's just gay.
Yeah.
But he's still a badass, and that's actually the least interesting thing about him.
I know.
Because that's just normal.
Yeah.
Because it's Star Trek.
Well,
you know, it's just there's no boundaries anymore. So that doesn't matter to people. So why would we have a parade for him? Why would he have the rainbow? Like, why is he having a rainbow bandana on?
Yeah.
No, that's just a normal part of his life, and there's, we don't need to actually make a parade of him. That would make him the gay guy. Then we don't want him to be the gay guy. He's just a person. You know what I mean? And people ripped Simon Pegg apart for saying that.
I know.
I don't understand that. I actually thought that was the most respectful way of coming at it.
Actually, I'm looking at my phone now because I want to find. I recently watched a documentary on Netflix, and it was about trans portrayals in media. I want to find the name of it now. I'm gonna forget it. If I find it later, maybe you can edit in what it's called or whatever, because I can't remember it and I want to shout it out. But they talk about trans portrayals in media, and always whenever there's a trans character on screen, the point of the character is that they are trans or whatever.
What's their personality like?
Well, they're trans. Person, and that's not the fault of the trans people. That's the people in casting. Mm-hmm. They're always like, I've played so many prostitutes, and the butt of the joke is some guy comes up to me and I turn around. And they have lowered trans people's voices so that you know that it was a trans woman or trans whatever. So they're like, sometimes we just want portrayals where we're just on screen. It's never addressed that we're trans, and you just go about it like you don't even know. Like that is the type of roles you want. So I get that, for people who think it's exciting that these two guys are gay and that's their whole thing, but really, you have to have more character on that.
Big time. I actually think it's disrespectful to just have them as the gay guys.
I think it is kind of disrespectful.
And then you said, there's one guy that just has to be the bitch that gets smacked around, and then you got the top lover who's just like coming in and saving him all the time, who's trying his best to do some work with nothing.
He gives a speech in this movie about how much he loves this guy. That would be great if it, like, he was just getting bullied. I'm going to spoil a scene in it, but basically...
Oh, it's not. That scene is absolute trash. It pissed me off so much. So.
Like, it's
not a spoiler. You're not losing anything if you hear this.
It's like a great speech, but like basically he's been captured with Nick, and I can't remember his name. Nick is the name of the guy, and he's kind of knocked out. and
not
Joe.
Booker.
It's Joe. Yeah,
Nick and Joe.
Nick and Joe, and the guard who like hits Nick, and he's like, "Hey, leave him alone." He's like, "What is he, your boyfriend?" And he goes into this big long speech, and he's like, "He's more than I've spent my whole life," and I'm like, why do you care about this guy? You're gonna murder this guy in like
you've nothing to prove to this guy.
Nothing to prove.
You're
to this
immortal.
guy.
You've been gay for hundreds of years, and it's this one homophobic
that
dude.
You're like, I'm gonna give a big eloquent speech about how much I love him, as in, whereas like,
and then makes out in front of all the guards, and then they kind of go, ugh, and separate them. And I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we actually? This is such trash.
How is the?
And you know, there's people watching that going, wow.
Groundbreaking. Give him an Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I was just like, surely your reaction would be like, yeah, he is my boyfriend. Yeah. You have a problem with that?
Why are you even responding to him anyway?
I know.
Fuck that dude.
He's just some asshole.
Even fuck the dude. Actually,
us as the audience.
That's your punishment for being homophobic.
Us as the audience, by the way, already know that they're gay together. So for them to have this speech, it's not like a coming out thing. Yeah. It's just like,
his declaration.
Oh my god.
To this idiot.
So they are gay. No, we as the audience know they're gay. So when he says, he's like, what is he, your boyfriend? Like, a smarter move as a director, this is my mind, would just be him to look at him and be like, yeah, he is. And then just go back to helping him. Like, don't give a fuck about you. Yeah. He's immortal as well.
Also, straight away, it's established that dude who's like, who was he, your boyfriend? Like, he's an idiot. Yeah. No matter what you say to him, those words are just bouncing off his head.
I know.
They're not going in anyway. So what are we doing? You know,
you're already...
it's the movie trying to pat itself on the back and be like, woke.
It really is.
Hashtag woke, bitch.
It's such a moment. We focus on such strange things. But, like, I think this is a genuine problem with the movie because people are heralding it as this great thing. And yes, it is great to see two people who are LGBTQ, who are badasses. Action kind of heroes. Action heroes, which definitely you want to see more. But I don't think this movie does it very well.
No,
where
not
it's
at
like,
all.
It's patting itself on the back for doing it. Whereas, in my mind, I'm like, these are two badass warriors. All that's going to happen is this guy is going to go, yeah, he is my boyfriend, and I'm going to kill you later. That's basically it. And this guy who says it to them is already so low on the bar because his whole thing was like, what are you, his boyfriend? As if like that's some kind of insult or something.
What are you, like a frat boy? Like, shut up.
I know.
You're getting fucked later.
Yeah.
You're actually getting fucked.
Yeah, with my sword.
Yeah.
I do like their
cool swords. Is that what he calls his penis? Like, what a guy.
I would.
Sword fight.
No, but I even like the sword design of that. They all have like unique sword weapons, but Charlize Theron has a big battle axe just because she does. And
because that's like the go-to weapon. It
true.
Looks so awkward. It actually looks so awkward.
It looks like such an awkward battle axe, but it's from the comics. Like, so I guess.
And we should say that the guy who wrote the comic,
Greg Rucka,
wrote this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe.
Oh, do you know what? Actually, let's actually talk about what's lacking in the movie, except for the shit we just talked about.
By the way, we're two straight white guys, so maybe we don't know what we're talking about.
I know.
But this is how I felt, and from what I've seen, I think I'm in line potentially with what people say.
I thought it was hollow. The portrayal was so hollow.
Yeah, I feel like the director went, we're going to make you two gay and people are going to love it. And I'm like, that's cool. You should make them gay, but, you know, make them people as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Anyway, sorry.
I was going to say that this movie really needs someone to slice it up a bit.
It needs a fucking editor who's a bit ruthless.
It needs a studio.
Yeah.
That's not Netflix.
I know.
Netflix can be so... Do you know what? Netflix are cool when it comes to someone like Martin Scorsese, who's a veteran. Mm-hmm. Like, I know he made a 3.5 hour long movie, The Irishman.
Yeah.
But I believe that movie was 6 hours long.
Totally.
And because he's a veteran and he's worked with Paramount, he's worked with restrictions for his whole career, that he knows himself what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
And he made this huge epic gangster movie and went, okay, the best I can do is get it 3.5 hours long, and I personally think there's not a bit of fat on that.
You could argue, I've heard people argue, it is too long, and you know what, I understand that and everything, but a movie like that, I don't think is as valid to criticize as being too long, whereas this movie, which is 2 hours and 5 minutes long, and there is so much fat.
But here's the thing, even if you look at The Wolf of Wall Street, which is 3 hours long, there's not a bit of slack.
You don't feel that.
Like, I want to see more.
Yeah.
You know? But I see, when I think of Martin Scorsese going to Netflix, I think he's already worked with enough studios to know what he's doing and to know when to be ruthless.
Yeah.
Where this director, I believe, when they said, hey, you've got the reins, you do what you want, you got your artistic liberties, you do whatever you need to do. She went off and just made it longer and like said, oh, you know, I'll marinate in this scene, which it's crap. Like that marination is nothing. You
Yeah.
know that way. It's adding no more flavor to it. It's noise. It's just white noise. And I don't believe that she maybe I'm wrong, but I mean we need someone to come in and go, oh, we can get rid of that, and we can get rid of that, and we can get rid of this. Like, there's no way this should be 2 hours and 5 minutes long. I said at least 20 minutes I could see thrown on the table, on the editing floor. You were like, man, make it 30.
30 minutes. Get this movie down to 90 minutes, and it's a 10 times better movie.
And that's the problem. When Netflix, when it comes to someone like the Coen brothers, you're like, I can trust that they will make the cuts that they need to make. They've worked with studios enough. I believe, right, that the Coen brothers and Scorsese have fought with Paramount or have fought with Sony or Warner Brothers, and then have sat down and gone, that was actually the right move.
Yeah.
That exec, I know he doesn't know what he's talking about, but that was actually the right move.
Yeah.
It flows better.
Yeah.
I feel like in this movie, they were like, nah, mate, I know what's good for this, and it's just not.
There's a solid 40 minutes in this action movie where there's no action, and it just drags and drags and drags. And I think that...
And I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled.
Yeah, and I think that there's might be a writing problem from Greg Rucka as well, because there's some scenes and dialogue that I'm only just thinking about now, that when you're looking at a panel, it's in a little bubble, and you know, you look at it, and a whole page of dialogue, and you're like, okay, you read that in about, a minute, and then you flip the page over. About a page-long panel of dialogue, that could be like a 3 to 4 minute scene in this, and you can't cut them out. Like, there was a specific scene, I don't want to spoil this movie all the time, but like, there is a scene where, I mean, comedy comes in threes, you know, and there's a certain amount.
I know the scene. I
know there's.
You're really angry
really
about
hate
this one.
scene, and it was the first scene I noticed.
Took it personally.
I did, because it's just bad writing, and I'm not a writer, and I'm not a very good comedian either. I've never got on stage before. I would like to, but I know that I'm like, you took too many steps to get to this place,
and the end result is not bad.
It's not.
It's the getting to. You know, it's the journey that they fuck up.
Exactly. Like, it doesn't work. Whereas, like, we have one thing happen, then we have another thing happen, then we have another thing happen. By the time we've got to the last bit, you've already forgotten what the beginning setup was, and it took way too many steps to get there. You had way too many twists in this one scene, and it just devalues everything that's done. Makes things seem hollow. Like, this movie is being praised for being character-driven, a character-driven action movie, but I'm like, they really try to make it character-driven and interesting, but I think they fall flat in a lot of the scenarios, you know?
Well, I watched it with my friend, and all we did was make fun of the dialogue.
Yeah.
Because it's so preoccupied with looking cool.
Yeah.
Like, Charlize Theron is just trying to be... Well, it's not her fault, really.
No, I don't think it's her fault.
She's constantly just trying to be cool. Nothing is said, but something is said. You know, like... You know when you watch something and go, people don't talk like that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't need... Okay, it's escapism. It's heightened reality. I don't need M's and ums and I don't need that. But I do need something that has a bit of substance to it. There's a lot of her just going like, hey, come with me. And someone goes, why? She goes, tell you about it later.
Yeah.
And then you just go with her. I'm like, no, wait, no, we need more details. There's a lot of that where there's like, you know, you don't need context.
There's a
because
lot of
context is uncool. So, like, you know what? Right at the start,
Yeah.
I think we can spoil this. Charlize Theron hasn't seen her buddy in a while. Is that Hooker?
Yeah.
Brooker? Booker.
Is it Booker, yeah.
And they meet in an alleyway. And she gives him a Don...
What?
Oh, she gives him like a volume 1 of a book, like the
Don
first...
Cornello? Or Don Caliente or something?
Something like that. And he's like, whoa, that must have cost...
Don Quixote.
Yeah.
Don Quixote,
and she goes,
yeah.
here's like the first pressing of it. And he's like, whoa, that must have cost a lot. And she's like, yeah, it did. And that's it. I'm like, you haven't seen each other in a year? And that's the dialogue.
You don't tell the story? I don't understand.
What? And not even like a... Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for thinking of me. You know the way, try it in a cool way. It was like, yo, bro, well, thanks a lot for thinking of me. But instead, it's just like, yeah, cool. Let's walk this way.
There's even a cooler thing though, but they're immortal, where she's like, no, Don was just the guy who wrote it. She names the author or something, goes, he just really wanted to bang me or something. Have some interesting dialogue in there. I don't know. Like,
stop trying to be cool.
Stop trying to be cool. Inject a little character into it, you know?
There's no flavor to this.
Yeah, people keep calling it character driven in this, and I'm like, I don't really know. Like, I mean, Booker he's probably got the most character in it, but for very specific reasons, obviously. And I was, you know, it's just they don't do enough with their immortality as well.
No, not at all. Like there's nothing interesting about it.
Not
there's
really.
one scene where a bullet comes out of someone's cheek.
It's
like
being pushed
it's like
out.
The cheek spits it back out.
And the guy spits out a bullet later as well, which I thought was cool. But like they don't go into like they don't. Nobody loses a limb. None of that shit happens.
And we've got a back catalogue of X-Men movies with Wolverine, and now recently with Deadpool, where we've got these so many interesting takes. You remember when Wolverine is sitting down, is it Days of Future Past, and his abs just start spitting out the bullets?
It's
and I'm like, damn, boy.
Yeah.
And of course we have like Deadpool doing tremendously interesting things, like when his lower half gets cut off and he's got his baby legs,
his baby hands.
And I understand that they're comedic, like the Deadpool one especially. You don't need to do that, but there's so many parts, there's so many traces of what am I looking for, inspiration. Like there's so much there to take from and go, sources of inspiration to go, okay, we should do something interesting with this. Beige.
Also, if you're saying, like, even the poster, you pointed out the poster for this movie is terrible, but
couldn't be blander. Yeah, couldn't be blander, honestly.
We're just going to, just to relate it to the violence and everything, I could see the people saying, well, this movie isn't there it's not meant to be this, fun comedic action thing. It's meant to be dark, kind of somber, character driven thing. And I'm like, okay, fine. Then show us some terrible violence happen to these people so that when they heal and they're like, I don't know why I'm still alive and everything, we maybe feel what it's like to be injured. There is a good story about a character that they tell, a former mortal, and how that character dies. And I'm like, that sounds horrific and traumatizing. And I can understand why that would make you a certain way. So I don't know why they don't lean into this in this movie, Also,
we got centuries and centuries of these guys being mercenaries, and we get little limited flashbacks, and I just keep thinking, oh my God, I want to see more of how they became these people.
What did you spend a day shooting that flashback scene?
I know, and it looks like there's a field with some trees in it. Yeah, let's just throw some medieval shit on it there for a second.
Yeah, we're gonna shoot a character death here from years ago.
We got some stuff that from Braveheart in a locker, in some room back there. We'll just throw that shit up.
Charlize Theron in a big black wig and some dreadlocks, and give her some crazy jewelry.
It's so lame. It's like, I kept thinking that we were gonna get like the Wolverine Origins, the best Wolverine movie that was ever made. I think it's pronounced Oranges.
Oranges with Deadpool Wolverine in it as well. Best Deadpool movie ever made.
Best Deadpool, Sabretooth's in it.
Sabretooth, Blob, all the great characters.
All the best ones. Will.i.am just being Will.i.am.
Gambit, just the greatest movie ever made.
It's a fantastic piece of work.
Cyclops, Emma Frost, all the characters I could.
It's so good. It's so good, and they do that epic montage of Wolverine and Sabretooth fighting throughout all these different wars. And I was like, I know it's a piece of trash, that movie is. But
that's the best scene.
It's so good. Yeah. It's a great scene. It's actually out of place. It was wasted.
Yeah.
On that movie, but like we get nothing interesting like that.
Nothing.
I don't understand none of these good reviews. I
really don't.
I'm getting hot and bothered about it.
No, and the only reason we're ripping on this so hard is because no one else seems to be.
And because there's a serious drought of content right now.
Yeah.
So when you see, hey, Charlize Theron is in a comic book movie, and it's going to be on Netflix, so we just got it one day.
And it's
I'm
about
like,
immortal badasses. Like, that's such a cool premise.
Give me something good. I want it.
And like we were reading through some of the reviews and we were looking at the scores associated with them and what they were saying, and we're like, I don't see how this movie is at 80%. And
also Rotten Tomatoes, guys, you should be accountable for some of these reviews where it's 2 out of 4.
Yeah.
So like they're fully on the fence, and then their log line, their main statement is negative. True and true. I'm like, How is that a positive review?
How is that a certified? How is that a fresh review? Why is that not in the green? What is it? Rotten? It's rotten or fresh, right?
It's rotten or fresh, yeah. So you got the red tomato, or you have the rotten tomatoes, and squash green tomato.
Yeah, it's less than 50% is a negative review.
Yeah, I think it's less than 60%.
60 is rotten.
So when I see 2 out of 4, I go 50%.
50%.
So it's rotten.
Yeah.
But they give it, and there's many of them that are right there on the fence, right on the cusp of being good or bad. If I give something 2.5 out of 5, to me it's bad.
Yeah, me too.
If it's 3 or above, it's positive.
If I see a movie, I used to read Empire.
3 is not even that positive. It's like, it's consumable. Yeah. It's not change your life good.
No. And then I would read the small little blurb and it said, this movie wasn't for me. And I go, okay, maybe it's an opinion. You know what I mean? And all reviews are technically opinions. But
of course.
When I'm reading...
But mine's right.
Ours is correct, as proven, because David Diggs is a terrible actor and he's not good at anything. No, but look, we can be proven wrong strong in its opinion and everything. But when we were reading through the reviews, and we actually had to deep dive in because we were like, how is this movie on 80% on Rotten Tomatoes? Couldn't understand it because I was giving it in my mind 50, 60%. 60 being nice, 50 being probably what I really thought of the movie.
Same.
And
like 7. What's their rating system? 7.5.
7.5. So everything's at a 7.5. So maybe a 2.5 or a 3.
I was going to give it 2.7 out of 7.5.
Yeah. Maybe a 3 1/8. No, 3 3/8 potentially.
I can see that.
But probably closer to a 2 or a 3. You know.
Yeah.
And that is on our personal rating system.
And it's a very strict
we can mathematically prove to you that is the greatest rating system to rate movies. Easily. I mean, it'd take too long to do it.
And I don't think people would understand because they're just not there.
They're not all there up there. But it's just. We just couldn't understand. We were looking at the reviews. We were reading the reviews.
Also, shame on the reviews for getting me excited for the movie.
I know. Yeah.
And then I watch it and go,
you weren't watching the same movie.
I'm the odd one out here. And then I talk to other people and they're like, oh, that's awful. That movie's awful.
I haven't heard anyone who has seen this movie say good things about it. And again, if the reviews didn't seem to be, it's weird. If I wasn't noticing a very particular thing happening with this movie where the reviews aren't great and the score is still very high and the people who are scoring it highly are pointing to the same thing as the reason they're giving it high, I tend to doubt the quality of these reviews. And like I would probably be sitting here trying to say nice things about it if the movie was sitting at a 50 or 60%.
I know, that's the thing.
Whereas now that it's sitting at an 80%, I feel like I need to be the dissenting voice and tell you all the bad things.
Voice the things that people aren't saying.
Yeah.
It's a strange one. I really don't understand it. Like I can't, and well, we can't understand it, and then we look through the reviews and kind of go, well, that's probably a negative, that's probably a negative, probably a negative. So maybe, truthfully, if you actually went through the reviews and if Rotten Tomatoes actually were accountable for for the scores that they translate from to 2 out of 4, you know, maybe it is a 60%er, maybe it's a 50%er.
I mean, in fairness, it only just came out.
I know, yeah.
So,
but it's got a lot of reviews, which just shows the drought and how this is the type of movie that in the normal, un-pandemic environment right now,
overlooked.
It would be overlooked, and it would have just a small. At this stage, it would, like, we're reviewing this one day after it came out.
Yeah.
It would have barely any reviews.
Yeah.
Like, it would have maybe 50 reviews. Where doesn't it on Rotten Tomatoes have over 100? Like, I was shocked at how many reviews it has, and it's clearly just because we ain't got any other stuff to watch right now.
Yeah, there's nothing to watch. By the way, can't wait to watch Palm Springs. Can't wait.
Looks
that movie
amazing.
Looks awesome.
Look, 139 professional reviews.
And even the audience score, 77%, 449. Like, I mean, audience scores are normally a bit...
Are we the odd ones out?
Are we the odd ones out? I don't know. And also the Collider article about this really rubbed me the wrong way.
It did, because it said it was the best action movie Netflix has ever made. I would actually argue that Triple Frontier is better, and I don't even like that movie that much.
Really? Yeah. I've never watched... actually, sorry, I have watched Triple... I was thinking of Six Underground.
Think of Ben Affleck, but not Ana de Armas, and with a lot of pounds on him.
Okay, all right. So we're talking like post alcoholism, but pre Ana de Armas.
Yes.
Okay, right. I remember that movie. And that movie's about as bland as you get. And I would argue that this movie is in the same bracket as that movie.
Well, what I would say is this movie has a lot of cool shit that's just not used.
Not done very well.
So that's why it's even frustrating. Like, I get mad when I see something and go, this should be good.
Yeah.
You know when you watch a movie and go, I don't even see how this is so bad. Like,
yeah.
I don't even see the good directions it could go in. Where this movie, I'm like, even the fact that they have Charlize Theron, and I don't even like her in it.
She's a wonderful action star, and she's not great in this.
No.
For some reason.
Movie tastes like water.
Yeah.
Movie tastes like water.
It's water.
As vanilla as it comes.
And also, there are some decisions made in this movie that clearly you see the studio's hand in, and that always takes you out of it. And, you know, you can see those in Marvel movies and things like that, and people will know what I'm getting at when I say Marvel movies, but you see that in Marvel movies and you're excited because you enjoyed the experience, whereas in this one, I saw the studio's hand and what they were trying to do, and I was like, I don't want another one.
And sadly, their hand wasn't cutting it down
to
a consumable size. And also, the score is
awful.
Is beige.
The soundtrack is awful as well.
So lame.
They're playing the weirdest songs for this movie.
Oh well, that's the soundtrack.
Yeah.
The score is like, I'm talking about like the composer.
Sorry, yeah.
Is asleep.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack. But I'm thankful of the soundtrack because at least the soundtrack informed me of what I should be feeling.
Totally.
I'm like, oh, sad vocalist.
Yeah.
Oh, I should be sad now. Okay, I'll run with that. And then like, oh, powerful vocalist. Oh, so this is going to be triumphant right now. Okay, I'm on their side now. You know, it's very informative because what's on the screen isn't.
Well, yeah, they do it. They put a song right at the end. It's like a song by Marshmello and Khalid. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's.
You were saying it's a good song.
It's a good song.
Just take it away from that movie.
It's a famous song, like not famous, but like it was released a few years ago and I'd heard it a few times. But like when they're playing in this movie, I feel like the guy who was putting the soundtrack together was like, "This song say things that happen in this movie.
Yeah.
We put in movie, make that music play at the end so people know." And it's like, oh my god, it's just. Like when you watch a movie like Drive and the soundtrack.
Oh, we're talking about Drive again?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Drive again. And the soundtrack is so unique and distinct and fits so well. It doesn't take you out of it. In this movie, they're like ham-fisted, forcing these weird
cool
song in every
for
scene.
For a cool movie.
Like
about cool people.
Why is there a vocal performance played alongside an action scene?
I know.
Why are we not hearing the sounds of the action? Why are we listening to a song?
Because to me, no one cares who made this movie. But will we move along?
Let's move on.
We're getting pretty down in the dumps here.
Yeah, so let's move on to something exciting, like Ennio Morricone being dead.
I know, I just seen that on my list. I was like, yeah, let's move on to something like, shit,
I moved my phone.
You hyped it up.
I moved my phone, and the next bullet point is Ennio Morricone died.
Like,
that's literally what I wrote there.
You're welcome, people.
Yeah.
What a setup right there.
My dad saw him in concert. He said it was great.
My friend seen him in concert.
I'm jealous.
Said he was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, the tickets were so expensive.
That's why my dad didn't bring me.
Yeah, I was like, I want to go see that.
Yeah.
I was like, hey girl, you want to go see that too? I call my girlfriend girl because I'm a badass.
Of course you do.
And she was like, hell yeah, let's go see it. We looked at ticket prices. We're like, yeah, nah, it's grand. It's grand.
I get that.
Yeah, I didn't see him too. And she actually texted me then saying we should have went to see him. But of course, that's what you're always gonna say.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, like make me cry about it. But Ennio Morricone is my favorite film composer of all time. I just think he's got such a unique voice, and I just love everything he's done. Actually, he's done too much though that I barely know. I barely know what he's done.
We have his Wikipedia open, so we might as well have a look at that while we're talking about him. But I mean, never has someone so effortlessly captured an entire genre than when he was scoring westerns.
He didn't even just he didn't capture it. He reinvented it.
Yeah. He
just reinvented it. He's like, oh, that's if you listen to Star Wars, just to make something like so that people can relate to. Like Star Wars is such a Western type of music, where it's like all the fast strings and shit like that. I'm talking like John Williams' score.
Yeah,
that's like a Western, but he's like, it's space still.
Yeah,
space Western. He just reinvented it. And what's crazy, this is what's crazy about Ennio Morricone's approach to the Western genre.
Yeah,
there's electric guitar in it.
Yeah.
There's electric guitar in it. And now when you watch a Western, there's so much jangly Western electric guitar just picking away. And you're like, how does that work? Because usually when... if you watch an old time kind of movie, most likely you're not going to hear a synthesizer.
No.
Because it doesn't work, because synthesizer is something modern.
Yeah.
Now sometimes it's in there, but you don't hear it. Like it's music production. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where with this... with the Western genre... all I hear is like this cool electric guitar picking. I'm like, that's such a unique move to make. Mm-hmm. It's such a bold move to make, and yet it like redefined the whole genre.
Yeah, I mean, this
even the word electric guitar, and then like someone's walking, coming in on their horse. You're like, that shouldn't work,
but it does.
Why does that work so well, and why is it now the norm?
It really is. He was an amazing composer, and. I mean, just listening to any of the stuff he composed is great, but specifically the stuff he did for the trilogy of Clint Eastwood movies. I can't remember, the Fistful of Dollar trilogy, I believe. But any of those three movies, like the scores are all so unique, so memorable, and like you leave the movie and you're thinking about it, and there are certain scenes in that movie. They say music heightens every scene and everything like that. Ennio Morricone was lifting these scenes like off the screen, making them so much more tense. You have that standoff in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Everything in those. It's just awesome.
And to think that he only got his Oscar towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
For the Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight.
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
And Tarantino had to talk him into making that.
Yeah.
His wife read the script and was like, hey, this is pretty good. And then he was like, oh, okay, I'll do it then. And he just wins an Oscar for it. And Quentin Tarantino has been purchasing his music for his films.
Yeah.
There's loads of Ennio Morricone music that was scored for a different movie that Tarantino loves so much. He's like, I want to use that for my movie. And that's why he was like, if I ever make a Western, I want to use my favorite composer because I've already been using him in other movies.
In fact, some of the criticism for The Hateful Eight is always that Quentin Tarantino opens the movie with a pop song, and it's like, you fucking Ennio Morricone scoring this, why are you opening this movie with a pop song?
Yeah,
you know?
And I've seen I think it was the 35mm version of it, where it was like in film, actual film. You can see the flicker through the stills. Like, it was amazing. And they have like a big opener, like they have like a massive a huge score to start, so it's just like 7 minutes of just the title and just the score, and then the film starts, and it's
so cool.
It was amazing. We had an intermission and all. It was pretty cool.
I'd say that was cool. I would love to.
Is it 55mm?
35.
It's 35.
I thought it was 35.
Is it like 35 just 55 and just
70mm? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Either way, Ennio Morricone won the Oscar right at the end of his career. It's crazy.
Well deserved. Yeah, but it was sad to see that he died. It was sad news. And then today, Jack Charlton died, who is, we're not football fans here normally, but even, as I said to my friends, even I know who Jack Charlton is as well. So there was two big losses. Yeah.
91 though.
91.
Ennio Morricone.
Yeah, Ennio Morricone was 91. Yeah.
So I'm sure he lived a full life.
Yeah.
And he was gigging. He was gigging, I say, up to his late 80s.
Yeah.
Didn't he do like 15 retirement tours?
He's
like, I'm retiring this time.
Yeah.
And then like another kid needs a new house. And he's like, fuck it, I'll do another one.
We'll do another sold out tour.
But I heard he was amazing live.
Yeah, well,
it's just a conductor, like that says a lot, you know.
It does. I saw Hans Zimmer live, and I thought it was amazing. So did you.
Too.
We were
he
both.
Plays a lot. That's the difference, you know.
Ennio Morricone, though, he would have been bucket list wanted to see, and unfortunately, we're not going to get to happen. But anyway, thank you, Ennio Morricone, for being just the scoring powerhouse that you were, and we're sorry the Washington Post doesn't know how to write an article about you without being disrespectful.
Yeah. Do you want to give us some context on that?
I was scrolling through Facebook, the cesspool that it is, and an article popped up by the Washington Post talking about how Ennio Morricone died and everything, and it was his obituary basically in there when they were kind of talking about his career, and in the title it said the composer of the and
but
other,
it just like read like I
was there, and I'm like, this guy died. Like, that is so disrespectful and just like such a dumb, stupid American thing to do.
And also, the Ecstasy of Gold is one of his most famous tracks.
Yeah,
that just looks great in a title.
I know.
The Ecstasy
of Gold.
Like, it's there for you.
Yeah.
You know, you're welcome.
And I know
they go I is what it reads.
And I know we have a big American following, and like I'm sure fucking the Daily Herald in the UK isn't
Mirror or some shit like that.
Isn't some great journalistic thing, but I was like, are they saying this so that because Americans don't know the name for that, or like what is it? I was just it really rubbed me the wrong way.
And it's America, like those westerns are humongous.
I know,
you know?
And then to call it, it's treating your audience like an idiot.
Yeah,
to be like,
exactly. It's condescending.
It really rubbed me the wrong
disrespectful.
way. Condescending, disrespectful of a man who's not only a legend but someone who died.
I know.
He's dead, like, you know, and I just didn't like that at all.
Me either. When you said it to me, I got angry.
Yeah.
In work.
Made me angry. And now we're going to talk about something else that made us angry.
Yes. Jesus, is an angry podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe we shouldn't have started with Hamilton.
Yeah.
We should put it in the middle somewhere.
I don't know. I think we would have been too depressed at the end to talk about Hamilton.
Gotta say no to this.
The Batman movie.
The one that Matt Reeves is currently making with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson. As
Bobby Pats.
Mr. Sunday Movie says, but Bobby Pats. Yeah.
Bobby
Pats. And all-star cast.
A movie that we have been supporting for so long, and it's been making it hard at times where Bobby Pats is like, I'm eating birthday cake and I'm not working out, and we're like, Bobby, and he's like, psych.
Yeah.
Psych, what? It turns out people like this character of Batman and get upset when I say things like that.
I know, and people are going to make campaigns about working out better than Batman week 4, by the way. Yeah.
The abs are starting to come in, starting to arrive.
They actually are, but you will not see them until I have lost a significant amount of belly fat. But anyway, there's going to be a TV series on HBO Max. Not just HBO Max, which is owned by Warner Brothers, that Matt Reeves has worked on.
What is HBO Max?
HBO Max is basically Warner Brothers trying to sound classy. You know?
HBO Max could be HBO.
Yeah.
Because HBO Max, HBO shows are on HBO Max. But also there's Warner Television that makes like CW shite.
Yeah.
You know? It's which one is which? We don't know anymore.
Yeah. It's like when you buy a €10 bottle of wine and it has a French name in it just because it wants to seem classy.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, okay.
That's what HBO Max is. It's Warner Brothers trying to look better than it actually is. But anyway, it's going to focus on the GCPD in the Gotham universe, and Matt Reeves was coming out being really excited about it, and it does sound very similar because there was a show that did that. That actually just ended. It was called Gotham.
Just ended last year. Had its last season.
Last year, yeah. And Matt Reeves is going to do another one now.
I don't understand how Matt Reeves signed off on this.
I don't know how he signed off on it either, especially since the movie hasn't been out yet. You know?
I know, and he's supposed to be involved in this.
Yeah.
And they're using the word HBO or the letters HBO, and I'm like, I don't believe that it's HBO.
No,
I don't know.
Neither.
I think the lines have blurred now with HBO Max. I don't know what's Warner Television and what's HBO, and HBO was such a powerhouse.
It was such a stamp of approval. It's like, it's a HBO show, you know?
They made Sopranos.
They made The Wire.
The Wire,
you know? Game of Thrones, all that shit. Up until the last season. Yeah. But which is where, by the way, they've been on a downward spiral since the last season of Game of Thrones, in my opinion. But
they're also developing The Last of Us.
Yeah, The Last of Us TV show.
Which I got hyped about, and then I realized it's HBO Max though.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is that? You know, like who's working on it? The HBO team or the Warner Television team?
And I get the feeling they're going to be like, oh no, it's split down the middle. And it's like, well, it really should just be HBO working on it.
I actually don't think so. I think they're just going to use the letters HBO all the time. No. And then when you see the ending of it, it has the Warner Television. You know, that way I'm like...
No, but that's what I mean, where I'm like, if you ask Warner Brothers who's working on it, they're going to be like, oh, it's half our team, half their team, when really what you want is the entire HBO team working on it and none of the Warner people. And really, when you look at it again, it's actually entirely Warner Brothers, as you were pointing out there.
Our biggest grievance, I think, if I may speak for you for a moment, is they're devaluing the Batman.
Yes.
Like, it hasn't come out, as you said. Mm-hmm. Why are we even talking about a TV show that's set in this same timeline when Batman is clearly not going to be in it? If you think Bobby Patz is not even working out for Batman, he's definitely not going and doing a television show for you guys.
Hell no. Prepare to see a stuntman in a very similar looking suit.
There's going to be so many stuntmen.
Yeah.
And you're going to know stuntmen as well because they probably look bigger and buffer than Bobby Patz.
Yeah, and they're going to be fucking 50 feet away from the camera every single time.
Oh, what was it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm Batman. But yeah, it has to be like that so you can't recognise that it's not Robert Pattinson.
He's just going to be disappearing into the shadows constantly.
It's going to be so lame.
Like
the show even could be good and I'm still going to be frustrated.
Me too. Like, if people were comparing it to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I'm like, that's not a good comparison.
No,
number one.
If you're doing that, I'm getting even angrier.
Yeah, and also Gotham did just end, but Gotham gets away. I have a lot of respect for Gotham because they really turned into the whole weirdness of it and did whatever the fuck they wanted.
You know, this is batshit crazy, pun intended.
Yeah.
And we're just going to embrace that.
Yeah.
We're going to embrace that. Everything is up to 11. Like, characters are going to shift on a dime.
Yeah.
Whatever suits their story, whatever suits the script at the time. Okay, now that's his intentions or that's her intentions.
We're going to do the craziest thing possible with these characters you've heard of. And you know what? They get respect from me for that because they always did something new.
Yeah, it was just crazy. It was a whirlwind of emotions watching it. You're like, what is happening? It's dog shit, but also so consumable, so sugary.
And it was a world without Batman or young Batman, basically.
But at least Batman's in it, so we address the elephant in the cowl.
In the cowl, yeah. Whereas now, it's like, we're going to do a GCPD movie that's set in the world of the Batman, I'm like, but there is a more interesting person that I would like to follow in that universe, and his name is Batman.
And he's currently making a trilogy.
Yeah, like...
So, you know what they could do is let the trilogy marinate. Like, let's make the trilogy, and then we go and dilute the franchise. Then we devalue the product.
At the end of it, when Batman's put away all these criminals and maybe he disappears or retires, how does the GCPD deal with these criminals when they come out when Batman's not around or whatever the fuck you do? But now, like, I was thinking of an interesting thing that could set up a villainous arc where it's basically have a detective follow a serial killer, and then, you know, you follow it through the whole episode and everything, and then he gets to the hideout, busts in the door, and then the serial killer strung up, the victim's been saved, and it was Batman who did it. But that would...
How's that satisfying?
But it's just an anti-climax.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what I want, because if the Batman delivers and is a great movie, then all I'm going to be thinking when watching the Batman TV series, Gotham whatever,
I know,
is I'm going to be watching it going, where's Batman? Where's Batman? Why did Batman not sort this problem out? So you can't have a big enough criminal. Exactly. You can't have a big enough problem.
You can't have big enough problem. You can't have big... It limits the scope of the show having Batman there.
So street level.
They have
like so street level. I don't even want, like, you know, if the criminal has too flamboyant of a personality, Batman's getting involved. You know the way that's in my head what I've been thinking. Does he have a catchphrase?
Yeah.
Batman should be getting involved then.
You can't even have them go up against Zask, because Zask is a serial killer, and it's like, oh, the second there's a serial killer in Gotham, you know who's going to stop him? Fucking Batman. Like that. It's just I just keep coming back to this where I'm like, if Batman exists in the universe, the GCPD can't work unless they're doing something. I just don't know what they're going to do, and I don't...
Internal affairs, maybe they dig deep into that. I don't.
Yeah. They dig deep
because that's interesting.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
And Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright is going to be Commissioner Gordon,
and in this press release said nothing about Jeffrey Wright. So is Commissioner Gordon on hiatus or on vacation every time there's a season, but then comes back because we're making a movie right now?
Also, are we going to have to sit through scenes with the characters they introduce in the TV show when the next movie comes out? We're going to have to watch an arc for whatever character they choose in the next movie because they're in the TV show. And
is Jeffrey Wright going to be the elephant in the room as well, where like you don't see him, you see the back of him all the time? You know, he just does a little bit of ADR and like, oh yeah, you don't even talk to Commissioner Gordon.
If they had come out from this and been like, it's going to be about the Batman universe and Jeffrey Wright is going to be Commissioner Gordon and it's about him rooting out corruption in the GCPD, and it's like, okay, you have named Jeffrey Wright in there, so he's definitely in the show and sounds like the lead, which is good.
Yeah, that bait kind of worked for me. I'm taking a bite now.
And we're just going to focus on internal affairs, like you said, in the GCPD. That is about as much of a scope as you can get, because even then, if there's bad cops in the GCPD, Batman's just going to be dropping off evidence on them. You know what I mean?
And you know what? While they're like, hey, that guy, that crooked cop is slinging dope, I'm like, I wonder what Batman's up to right now.
Yeah,
you know, that's
exactly.
my problem.
What does he do?
I said, he's not working out, I know that.
Yeah, what is he?
But I'm like, what's Bobby Pat's up to right now?
I know. Is he not gonna come in? Like, surely
he's fixing his sweet Mustang looking Batmobile.
Oh, man,
I don't understand why they're making this move.
Neither do I.
It's making me so hot and bothered right now.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing? Why are we devaluing a movie that hasn't come out yet?
And look, there are some interesting characters in the GCPD that you can use, but again, they're supporting characters.
Throw them in the movie then.
Yeah, exactly. But like Harvey Bullock, very interesting character from the comics.
And I would like to see him in a movie.
Yeah, me too. I'd like to see him in a movie.
Him and Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright clashing. Harvey Bullock he's always kind of opposed to Batman. But he's an alcoholic detective who's actually a very capable detective. It's just
when he wants to be.
When he wants to be, he's just an alcoholic and it doesn't like Batman. And they do a good job in the comics of being like, Harvey Bullock is limited by the fact that he's not a crooked cop. He's actually a really good cop. He's just...
Depends what iteration as well, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It depends who's doing it. But, he could be in it. Renee Montoya... Probably, I would say, a series lead. I'm almost lock for series lead. She's a very old character in the comics, been around for years and years and years.
But as interesting as her character could be, if we're not going to be like, what's Batman up to? We're going to be like, what's Commissioner Gordon up to?
What's Commissioner Gordon
like we're in the precinct.
I know, limited scope.
Like, it's so weird. It's such a strange approach.
And Renee Montoya does become a superhero at some stage, the question. But...
And then she becomes a superhero.
Yeah, but it's like...
Who's she going to be tangling with?
Who's she going to be tangling with? Exactly. Like, it just...
Or who's she even going to be taking down?
Yeah.
Is she going to be a superhero, but then taking down like the guy that's slinging dope on the corner?
I know.
It just doesn't seem cinematic or heroic to the degree of like Batman taking down Two-Face.
And not to say the question is up there, but you know, there are bigger stories you can do with him. You just can't really set it in Gotham City because Batman's there.
Guys, please just let us enjoy this movie.
Just let us enjoy the movie.
Why can't we just enjoy this movie?
I know.
We've been supporting it for so long, and then you keep shitting on us. Like, what are you doing? Just let us enjoy this movie. It's so frustrating. I can't. It's such a weird move to make.
It is.
Even marketing wise, like I have no business head, but at the same time, I'm like I just think of devaluing. Like, wait. Why would you do this?
When we haven't even seen a
Let it be a hit first.
I know.
Even.
We haven't even seen a proper trailer for the Batman, and they're announcing this show.
We don't have enough footage yet.
I know.
Because I have to shut down for the virus that shall not be named.
But there are other characters who could be Crispus Allen, Maggie Sawyer. She's a cop from Metropolis, so you could talk about that and everything. And then there's Jim Corrigan, who is a detective. He becomes the Spectre again, and the Spectre is like this massive, powerful entity in the DC universe.
So you can't touch it.
So you can't really touch it. So maybe they'll introduce new characters or whatever, because that's always great.
No, exactly. Either way, I want it to be good. Obviously,
we both want it to be good.
I don't think it's the best move to make.
I think we've kind of been on a negative tear this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
So all the negativity is coming out. We both want this show to be good. I just don't see how you're going to run it. But I would very much like to be proven wrong.
Oh, of course. That's it. Let me eat all those words. I will happily eat them.
Like I did with Robert Pattinson. Ian was always there from the start, but like I had to eat my words with Robert Pattinson after watching Good Time and all these other great performances, I would very happily eat my words on this show. But
let's hope it's HBO.
Let's hope
if they do it, Jeffrey Wright is involved.
Yeah. And also we should say, because we're on a bit of a Batman trend, Batwoman got recast.
And a very interesting, bold move, I would say.
It was. Now, well, I'm going to get the actress's name, but it was an African-American actress who is bisexual in real life, and she's going to be playing an out lesbian new character introduced to the show. She's not going to be Kathy Kane anymore. It's going to be... Sorry, now. I'm going to get the actress's name.
I'm so intrigued to see what they do with the suit.
Me too.
Because they have to change it, I'd say.
Yeah, there has to be some redesign now. Batwoman recast. I should have looked up that. I just looked up Batwoman and by the way, whenever you look up Brandon Routh Superman now, it goes to the one he wore in
the Kingdom
Come one, and I'm like, of course, awesome. Javicia Leslie she's going to be taking over, so that's going to be interesting. I'll definitely watch the trailer for that, and then decide not to watch the rest of it.
I'm not going to watch it. I'm just not.
But yeah, it's cool casting, and I hope it works out.
Me too. And I just wanted to say that Shia LaBeouf is a crazy person and got a massive tattoo on his chest for the tax collector.
That says Creeper? Isn't that what it says?
Is that what it actually says?
I think it says like creepy or something.
I just seen the image because we had been talking about Shia LaBeouf last week. We reviewed, what was the name of the movie? Honey Boy.
Yeah.
I actually watched... Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
Oh, we should review it then.
Okay.
As well, because we've been on a bit of an appreciation tour when it comes to Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
And I think you'll love that movie.
Okay, we'll watch that next week then and review it.
And you'll love it. You actually will love it.
I'm excited.
Shia LaBeouf got the fucking tattoo, and now he's under fire for brown facing.
Brown face. Apparently, people are like coming out after the trailer saying he's doing brown face.
He's like a Latin American gangster in the tax collector. Now, I thought he was just supposed to be a white dude who kind of has just...
Cholo vibes.
He's got Cholo vibes. You know, he grew up in that environment, but clearly I'm wrong.
I don't know.
But here's the thing. For me, once I see he got that tattoo, I was like, fuck, he can do whatever he wants. I mean... look at the size of that bleeding tattoo. Also, Shia LaBeouf, chill the fuck out. Don't get that tattoo.
It's a chest and back tattoo, and
it's huge.
It's huge. It's all encompassing, and he got it specifically for this role. So
talk to Ben Affleck before you got that tattoo. That's what you should have done. You said, "Hey Ben, what you think?" No, don't do it.
Let him tell you how expensive it is to have a fucking phoenix removed off your back with laser surgery, and how painful it is,
or how expensive it is for the makeup department and all the time. Like anytime he's topless, he probably won't be for anytime soon. Ana de Armas, he's getting those gains.
I tell you what, he's looking good. I look at every single paparazzi photo of the two of them together.
I know those shoulders are getting broader and broader. I could lie on them.
Yeah.
Also, a guy who gets his tattoos makeup over is Colin Farrell. He said it's awful.
Yeah.
So he always has to do it all over his arms. He's got like sleeves and shit like that.
That's got to be terrible.
But Shia LaBeouf, he's under fire.
He is. He's under fire for that. We're not the people to comment on it, but I don't really agree.
Just like I already did.
Yeah, I know.
He did the tattoo. I'm kind of like, let him go.
Let him go.
He's a Rottweiler. Just let him off the leash. Fuck it.
Let's wait for the performance to see if it's racist. You know?
Yeah.
I don't.
And then we'll watch it and go, oh, we're eating those words.
Yeah. So that was the episode 50. We're sorry it wasn't more of a joyous occasion.
Yeah, I know.
But
we started hot.
We started hot.
We were pretty good.
Everyone should watch Hamilton, and then
it's a beautiful piece of work.
The Old Guard. Watch Extraction instead.
Oh, watch The Old Guard and then tell us we're right, please.
Tell us we're right, please. I would next week.
I want to be reinforced.
Yeah, next week I want to show up and be like, now it is down to 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I feel validated.
Go on, troops.
Yeah, come on. No, don't review bomb it. Actually,
no, I actually
don't
fucking
review
hate that.
Yeah, me too. It's a terrible practice. But Hunk and Skunk.
Ooh. Okay. I think it should be Christopher Jackson should be Hunk.
Yeah, he is. He's Hunk of the week.
George Washington.
Tied. It was either him or Daveed Diggs because we owe him.
Oh, we do owe him as well. Both of them.
Both of them. Christopher Jackson.
That's a spicy stew right there.
Yeah, you guys were killing it in Hamilton. We loved you.
Yeah, and Daveed Diggs, I did somewhat eat my words, but I still think that it's kind of wrong that you're in Snowpiercer. But at the same time, I think you're awesome.
It's Snowpiercer's fault.
Yeah,
not you.
It's TNT's. They're the ones who produced it.
You do you, Daveed Diggs.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
You're
Christopher
hilarious.
Jackson, you stole my heart.
You stole those eyebrows and that beautiful voice of yours.
Yeah.
So smooth.
So smooth. And then Skunk.
I just kind of wanted to give it to the movie, but I don't want to give it to the movie.
Is there anyone specifically really bad in the movie? Not really. They're all kind of...
I kind of want to give it to Collider.
Yeah? Let's give it to Collider.
You think?
Yeah, for making just a... Clearly not watching Extraction.
For Father Time for killing Ennio Morricone. Can we give it to Father Time?
Father Time, you bastard.
You got us again.
Skunk of the week goes to Father Time. Easily, with a bullet. Father Time.
That's been clipped right there.
That was the greatest off the wall selection of all time. Hunk and Skunk. Love it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we don't discuss it in the front anymore. I love to coming up with it right at the end.
I know, we always forget.
It's my new favourite thing.
Is it?
And worst celebrity tattoo goes to Ben Affleck still.
It does. Shia LaBeouf, you keep being you.
You keep being you. That's a callback to episode 1 of Straight to Series. Since we are now
bro, it's been a while.
50 episodes
nice.
in. Feels
I like
good.
It. It's all circle.
Yeah, it's full circle. Back. And Fat Diesel.
Yeah. Fat Diesel, you've been with us the whole way. You keep doing you as well. You stick to that diet.
You stay smoking up on that balcony.
Carb loading every day.
Hell yeah. It does the job.
And we should say thank you for everyone who's been listening for all 50 episodes. If you got through it, fair play to you.
Fair play to you.
Best.
Those first few are rough.
And hey, anyone who's... I take that, first 10 maybe. Also, by the way, hey, like and subscribe. If you like what you hear or what you see.
And please, we would love if our 50th episode did really well. Because definitely. That would be crazy. And
plus our 49th episode's doing really well.
Yeah, not to scratch our own backs, but it's really nice to see when stuff does well because we feel that this is
I think we're getting better.
I think we're getting better too, and we just want more people to see and hit us up and everything. We love all the fan interactions that we actually do have.
We're getting a lot lately.
Yeah.
Which is great. We got a few thirsty ones as well, which I appreciate. So, getting me too tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone. And if you don't see Ian here next week, he just told you what was going to happen. And you should all watch Hamilton, and neither of us know how to say no to this, and that is how we're going to end this podcast.